Hello again, everyone. So here we are talking about some psychotic affairs. I'm just going to get straight into it. I had this little thought on my mind about our obsession with psychonauts. Some of us, maybe some of you, have got a bit more of a balanced mind, but some of us who are especially mystified by these mystical states, we can become very obsessed with them, and we can become a bit too stuck on killing our ego, almost in a murderous intent, not in a loving intent to sort of let the ego go and let it dissolve and transcend it, but in a literal, right, my whole purpose in life is to destroy this ego and transcend into the astral and all that. It's like I think sometimes as psychonauts we are a bit stuck on this idea of, right, ego death is the ultimate goal for every single person, and we should all be doing it in this rote manner, whereas I've sort of started to come to this insight now that instead of trying to kill your ego as fast as possible, why don't you nurture a healthy one in the sober reality before doing so? And I think it actually will help you in the long run, because we're going to turn around because my brain needs stimulation. I think the best possible thing you can do before you get into psychedelics is to curate a healthy mind and personality in the best way you can without the use of any mind-altering devices. This will help you in the long run make your actual ego death or ego dissolution experience be a lot smoother, or at least it was for me, because obviously I was just sprung into it accidentally from just messing about with psychedelics, parties and that, and then one day I was literally at a party and I was like, whoa, I'm not me anymore, and I literally had like this cosmic orgasm and this sort of Kundalini awakening type experience where like energy at the bottom of my spine, I had no idea what Kundalini awakening was, or chakras or energy, or even God or consciousness or anything, but from a physical standpoint there was energy at the root of my spine, and it went all the way up here and that exploded out the top of my head into the universe, and it felt like, well, you're having sex with God in a sense. Very, very bizarre for a young atheist, scientifically minded, quite lost, convoluted mind to experience that physically and have to own up to it. And it was very traumatizing. It took me a long time to actually get over it. Not get over it, but process it in a healthy way, because the problem was that I misconstrued this as being like my brain short-circuiting. But what would have really helped out is if I'd got into, like, say if I'd gotten into psychedelics through just partying and stuff, and then I'd found out, oh wait, there's all these resources that you can use to sort of curate a healthy mind leading up to this possible awakening experience. If I'd had all the foundations, the theory laid down, that ego death experience could have been, obviously it was beautifully transformative in the end once I'd integrated it, but unfortunately it took me a very long time, and more time than it should have, to actually process it and come about from it a better person. So my advice for people who are just getting into this and they've never taken psychedelics but they're interested, and they've got like a fascination with these ego dissolving experiences, awakenings, God realizations, all that, I think you should first of all get reading about it, actually research it. It's all well and good. I understand why people ask me about this online, and I'm more than happy to answer people's messages and be as helpful as I can, but it must be said that I can only help you so much, and all these spiritual gurus and all your friends can only help you to a degree. What you really want to do is take a bit of a responsibility for your own journey. This isn't me judging you, or this is actually me trying to help you, but it must be said that take a bit of responsibility and just Google it yourself. You've got in your pocket, you've got this mad device. I've not got one. I literally tried to pick it out of my pocket, it's not there. You've got this super computer in your pocket that can literally scour through so much information, and sometimes you can lose yourself in just getting advice from people all the time quabbling on Reddit, Discord or whatever, like, oh, should I do this, should I do that? And it's like, to be fair, mate, maybe do a bit of your own research, take it and do it from your own consciousness, not through other people's consciousness. Like, I mean, obviously, when you're reading someone else's book, like you're reading the psychedelic experience, or something by Alan Watts or McKenna, or any of them that are big in this psychonautic field, you are taking in secondary information, but it's also a lot more thorough than just reading like a Reddit post or whatever. I know I'm trying to tie this back into the nurture a healthy ego. Basically, what you want to be doing is don't get obsessed with the psychedelics as being the be all and end all to transcend you. You can do a lot of that in the physical here and now in your sober life. Look into like Jungian archetypes, figure out which archetype you are, and how you can, and all the things you can learn from psychology on a base level without the use of these mind altering devices, because you should be it's such a profound experience having an ego death or an awakening or anything like that. I feel like the richest, sweetest, most constructive ones, either way, if you have it, it's going to be constructive, but like I said, it can be traumatic, and there will be some trauma regardless of how much you work up for it. Everyone's different, you might not have any, and again, it's all relative, a lot of this stuff, so don't take everything I say as gospel. People really need to shut up on that road, because they're sending Vivec's head spinning like yeah, you can do so much before you build up to this ego death experience, and I think most of you will be all the better for it. Get reading the books, go travelling, try find yourself in another way before you do it, and then it's like, and don't get into mindset like, right, I've tried all this stuff and it doesn't work, right, now I'll do the psychedelic. I mean, maybe some of you that might be the answer, but I'd say for the general audience, just try all these other areas, especially you people, like I've said many times. I'm building up on these like on-camera videos. I want to keep complimenting them. When I said about don't take psychedelics if you're a teenager, like I said, it's relative. Some of you are ready. We're all wired up. Some teenagers, 13-year-olds, are more conscious than people at age 84. Some people are just big kids. Some people are like, I know some older people who are like 60 years old and they've clearly never matured in any tangible way since they were 18 or something. So it is really subjective, but this is, again, it's an average general rule of thumb sort of thing I'm going on about here. So please just bear in mind that there's so many other areas you can study before you take the deep dive into the dissolution of the finite self. So many good books, and I can't list them here off the top of my head because I like to do these videos in one, but just trust me, go on Google, research it, type in the best books on psychedelics, best book on psychology, the best book on creating a healthy mind, get into meditation, mindfulness practices, start breathing. How many times do we, like in today's culture, do we just like stop from all these dopamine surge activities and just take a deep breath and just be and enjoy all the wonders of nature. Someone said that was a datura flower the other day, but I can confirm it's just a regular flower. I mean, I could eat it right now and probably feel very weird. Maybe this is a new tropine alkaloid. I have no idea, but let me tell you one thing about this bloody ego bollocks, is you don't realise how much power and potential and just love you can have for yourself. I understand it. I got it for ages. Before I had my ego death, I was like a completely chaotic, I mean, I still am a chaotic individual. I'm still shedding the old skin. For many years of my life, from being a child to being like late teens, I was completely behind in so many areas of my life. I had not curated a healthy ego. I had not created a healthy mind. I put on the persona of being something I wasn't. And I think many of you are actually like me, and that's why we resonate and are on a level. But some of you are a bit younger, maybe early 20s, late teens, at 18. There's so much more I think you should be doing. also get some hobbies, some passions and that, and build upon them. And because you do realise how intense this ego death can be. It's the death of the finite self. It's gonna challenge you in ways you can't even begin to comprehend. So what you really want to do is you want to be as prepared as possible for it, and turn it into the most constructive moment of your life. I mean, like I say, either way it's still going to be, because it's going to be so profound, it's going to be constructive regardless of whether your ego gets damaged or not. But if you've got a healthy mind and that, I think it'll pay dividends to really build on these like lower levels, and then when you actually like take the plunge, it's going to be so much sweeter and less ungrounding in a sense, because obviously a lot of these people, I'd say these really sort of lost individuals who I completely have like major empathy for, they're like, right, I've tried absolutely everything, or I've tried nothing and I'm just completely lost and I'm on the verge of, say, like self-terminating. My only answer now is psychedelics, and you take loads of them and have this like ego death experience, which in a sense is sort of what they needed, but they could have gone about it in a much better way. But again, like some people, I guess this is the relative conundrum, is that just, yeah, some people are so lost, maybe they do need the most intense wake-up call, a rude awakening, as we like to say. But I think some people in the psychotic community do this like spiritual bypassing sort of spiel. They spin this spiritual bypassing spiel as like, I don't need to do any of this stuff. I'm actually, well, basically it's like spiritual bypassing is you're not doing all of this like core spiritual work, like literally tapping into the self, like just like some deep contemplation while you're meditating. Go for a big walk in nature, go hike to the top of a mountain and taking it all, the whole thing on a grander scale. It'll take you out, it'll give you a glimpse of going from this limited self to this higher self, and that's a glimpse of it's like a sober DMT experience in a sense. So yeah, the gist of this video is just to say that try and just hone in to the positives of yourself and work on them. If you've got any negatives, try and transcend them the best you can without psychedelics first, and don't expect them to do the full job for you, because I think as many people have said very wisely, yes, they can give you the deepest insights into life of all time, but if you don't do anything with them, they're literally just sitting there. It's like empty theory. How are you going to do anything with these insights if you don't actually take action? You can get all the steps, you can get all the like hiking gear in the world, the best hiking gear. You've got your stick, you've got your head torch, you've got your North Face jacket and your Timberland boots, but if you don't actually go and walk up the mountain using all the equipment that you've gathered together, how are you going to even like make use of it if you don't actually put one foot in front of the other and do the thing that they're helping you to do? So yeah, this is why some people get lost on psychedelics and doing them all the time, and then they're like, oh well, why hasn't my life changed? Or yeah, I had this beautiful mushroom experience into the nature of self, and I finally loved myself for the first time and other people, and saw the beauty and harmonious nature of consciousness. But then the next day they go straight back to, I don't know, binge eating or getting into an addictive habit. And I know this is true because I've done it myself, but now I'm starting to really just get a grip of the trickery of my own mind, because it loves to indulge, consciousness on a purer level loves to be free, doesn't it? It loves to be unlimited. But I think one of the problems is that the ego then starts to get a bit obsessed with that in sort of a hedonistic pleasure sense of like, oh, finally I've escaped from my own bullshit. But the funny thing is that the ego is the one creating the bullshit, so it's the ego to blame. But we should, this is another big point, sorry if I'm going on so many tangents, my brain's firing on all cylinders today, and I just like to get stuck in, lad. Basically, oh god, where was I? Try and love the process. Obviously you're going to be very perturbed by your ego tricking you and getting you in these traps and deceiving you and all this. Try and sort of love the Machiavellian elements going on in your mind, in a sense, but don't get obsessed with them and don't make them out to be something that they're not, which is constructive. I tell you what, I'm absolutely sick of this camera. It just keeps heating up at the moment where I heat up and get into some serious revelations. So yeah, try and love the process. Try and love your ego, even through all its bullshit, and you should be aware of it, and don't let the ego then spin your love of the ego into anything destructive. Like, yeah, I love all the toxic, destructive, evil parts of my mind. I can go do whatever I want because I love myself. No, have actual, pure, nuanced understanding and love of the process of getting better, of creating a better mind and a better self. Look into like Myers-Briggs personality test. See what you like. I'm a campaigner. I thought that was seriously illuminating, finding out about my personality type. Obviously, I'm not exactly a campaigner. There's subdivisions and all this, and the pendulum swings back and forth.
Oh, hey Charlie, what's going on, man? I'm just chilling here today, Vivec. You have a nice run.
What a weird dog. But anyway, yes, try and love the process of getting better, no matter how hard and sticky it might seem. I'm doing it myself. Last night I had like sort of like a sober ego death, in a sense. I wasn't like dissolving into the universe, but I was sort of just like hugging myself and really touching like my heart and being like, you know what, it's okay to let go. I just had to remind myself that the ego, or remind the ego itself, that it's not in control and that that's okay, and that positive affirming words like this for the self beyond the ego self allows it to get back in, well, back in gear and really guide yourself without having to control and manipulate absolutely everything. So in conclusion, before my camera decides to self-terminate, just remember that there's so many other things you can do before you get into psychedelics that will help you in the long run.
And when you've gone about doing everything you can to make the healthiest possible ego, with all of the advice you can find online, using my help, help from others, but also help from your inner self, just really tapping into your consciousness through meditating, mindfulness, long walks in nature, deep contemplation. If you've got a car, just get in your car and go and like take a really, really long drive and just try to be at peace and contemplate in a really profound manner. And this is how you curate a healthy ego, like just knowing your self limitations, knowing that you're not always in control, and try to be just work on your charismatic elements, especially if you're struggling, say like talking to girls or socializing. You're one of these sort of I don't know, like basement dweller type people, who I completely empathize with, because I was the exact same. But at the end of the day, at some point you've got to grow up and mature and try and hone in on the positives of your personality and create a great well, not even persona, create a great self, and then it will really pay dividends in the end once you actually get to that point where you're like, right, okay, I'm ready to take the plunge and see what's beyond this ego existence. And I think it will be a much more smooth journey and ascension, to be fair. Or I could be completely wrong, and maybe you on an individual level, you watching this who this doesn't apply to, maybe the only thing really in life that you can do at this minute is actually have this ego dissolution, this God realization, awakening experience, to actually break you out of your sort of toxic loop of self-sabotage. Like I say, we're all different, and if you just really tap into it, just take a long hard look in the mirror or something, tap into yourself, into your own consciousness, I think you'll find the answers within, because I can only help you so much, and the sense of other can only really guide you the best it can. What really needs to guide you is your inner voice, your highest self, your Godhead, whatever you want to call it, the thing that really is you beneath all of the layers of persona and bullshittery that the mind likes to spin. Obviously the ego is a tricky beast. You create a healthy one maybe, and then after you sort of let go of all this self-reflection stuff, it then starts to become toxic without you actually realising it, and you've forgotten about all the lessons you imprinted into it, and then it starts to misconstrue them and twist it for its own gain, and then you become a narcissist. So you've got to be very, very careful about this stuff. Just really try and do your best. You don't realise how powerful you all really are, and I love you all, and I shall see you on the other side.